All right, so we talked about this yesterday, right? We talked about this yesterday. So we had this ascending triangle, which I love. And then we had head and shoulders on SPX, which I love. Those areas of confluences. And look what happened, right? Oh, we had this here. We had this here. We had this here. Look what happened overnight. We dropped all the way down to 68.35. Talked about the tariff wars with the European Union, potentially causing this fall off to happen, and this is what we got. Now, this morning, this turned into a double bottom. So this was a great entry right here. We caught this entry here, and we caught the SPY entry. Look, you guys know. We go back to my alerts. SPY 126 call, SPY 684. 684 SPY call. 9 minutes into the market open because we saw the bounce, the double bottom here. These are the things that we wait for. These are beautiful plays on the market. Now, here's what's also playing out here that looks kind of neat to me. If we do this, up here, we could potentially do this. Why? Because now this turns into the head. This is a shoulder. This is a shoulder. And eventually we're going to break this and come back down to finally fill this gap down here. And this is going to be your monster move once this happens, right? So keep an eye on that. But for now, we got our bounce here. So we're expecting this to continue pushing up as long as the VIX does what it's supposed to do. Remember, SPX and the VIX run inverse of each other. So if the VIX comes down to fill this gap, we're going to push back up to fill our gap. So if you haven't gotten to a play now or a play yet, this is the type of play that you will want to get into, right? We have this huge gap up here to fill. So as far as your capital allows you, I would just push out like a 685, 686 call and just hold on to it until we run back up to fill this gap. That's what I would do if I were you. All right, so that's SPX. Let's go look at our tech stocks. NVIDIA. All right, we had our break and our retest. And what do we say? We're more than likely going to come back and try to retest this. Look at us. We're back in the zone. We don't do anything on this yet until we see this happen, right? And then we break out. So I wouldn't touch NVIDIA until we come back down to maybe 176 and get a bounce. I wouldn't touch it yet. So that's what I got on NVIDIA. We're back into a falling wedge. Just nothing more to say on that. Palantir. We've been waiting on Palantir to do something, fight. All right, so right, we had the zone here on Palantir. We were consolidating right here. Then we lost our consolidation. This is called this right here, consolidation, right? We have consolidation, then you have a channel breakout. We don't know what happens, what direction it's going to go when consolidation happens. We either wait for a breakout or wait for a breakout. Now, look, remember what I keep telling you all. I'm telling you, these are simple, simple rules to live by. Look at this. This was our consolidation, right? Got a break, boom. Then we got a retest with that green candle. And then our second break is the stronger break. Remember, the second break is the stronger break. So we're down here on Palantir. We got us a bottom here. Do this here. What do we have? Boom, boom. Probably going to push back up at least to this breaker structure at about 174. All right, 172.50, 170 call, good for Palantir is what I would say. But you got to push these things out because we do have volatility in the market. Anytime the VIX is above like 15, we have volatility in the market. So you don't want to hold anything short term. Or if you do get into something short term, once you see that profit, get out of there, right? Don't overstay your welcome. So the Bitcoin, we talked about Bitcoin potentially falling. And we also said if Bitcoin falls, right? Because we only look at Bitcoin in order to find our trades on Bitcoin related stocks. But look at this. This was a beautiful bear flag. Perfect bear flag. Look at that. Flagpole, consolidation, follow through on the flagpole. That was a beautiful textbook bear flag on Bitcoin. So let's go look at Riot. What do you think happened on Riot? Riot fell. Look, Riot pulled down to 1769, right? We've since recovered here because most of the market's trying to recover. But look at that fall. We fell from 1928 Friday to the market here. We fell all the way down to 1786. So as expected on Riot, this would have been a quick scalp in the morning or could have waited till we found some bounce here. Now remember, this is what I look for on my bounces. See this break of structure here? This is like a supply or demand zone light on the break of structure. We wait for the wick to happen here, which means buyers are stepping in. And then once that occurs and we get this body, as soon as this body forms, you execute, right? You execute without hesitation. You jump in without hesitation. But you keep your stop loss in play unless in case it goes against you. But most times out of not, this is going to go in your favor once we get the buyers bouncing back above this breaking structure, and then we get that body. This is where the flood happens right here with that body, and then we push up. All right. See this? This was a break. This was a retest. This was our second break. Break and retest. That's all we are waiting for on these different patterns. Just keep it very, very simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla's getting beat to smithereens. All right. So what do I like here on Tesla? Let me erase some of this stuff because I've been busy drawing. All right. Do I like anything on Tesla? Well, Tesla's falling off a cliff a little bit here. But one thing I do like, it looks like we may have a double bottom forming here on Tesla. Right here. See this? Double bottom. Or here's our breaker structure. Break, retest. We got our wick here. We got our body form. You can actually get into this play. Right? Execute without hesitation because we have a body forming above this breaker structure with the wick below. You can get into this play, right? Have your stop loss just in case. But I would expect Tesla to push up a little bit. We got some volume coming in here. I think Tesla's going to push up. We'll table that for end of day video and see what happens on Tesla. Let's see if we can find a demand zone though, something a little stronger. Okay, we're near one. We're near one. So we probably got one on 15 that we're bouncing off. Oh, almost. Yeah, so we're near one here. So yeah, Tesla has a gap to fill also. So like I said, we'll come back and see what happens at the end of the day with Tesla. So I'll make sure to table that. All right, lastly, let's look at Amazon. Amazon was moving very good last week. All right, so what was this? To Friday, Tuesday. All right, we pulled down to 231 here. We got some bounce on Amazon. Um, let's see here. These are hard because I like to see them near a zone or something. So let's go zone hunting. You know, maybe I like my zone bounces and touches. I don't see a zone. Let's see a zone. All right, I do like this. Let's get this horizontal line. Boom. See this? My breaker structure. See this? Breaker structure here. Look what happened. Amazon wick down, buyer stepped in, wick down, buyer stepped in. So this is a good entry. So for this, I'd want to see us engulf this 235. This is where I would take like a 237.50 call, 240 call. If we engulf this and let this thing run back up and at least close this gap here, this will still get you in the money. That's what I see on Amazon. Oh, let's go back here. So we're pulling back a little bit on SPY because, like I said, we need the VIX to do its thing. We need this VIX to pull down. I still believe, right, if you're in something that's out far enough, you have time for these things to still recover here, but expect a little bit of chop because, again, as long as the VIX is this high, we're going to have volatility. So, yeah, that's what I see right now in the market. Let's go see. Oh, we talked about gold. Talked about gold. Good Lord. What did we say on gold? What did we say on gold? What did I say? We have a downtrend. We have a zone right here. We wait for a break, right? We broke out of this thing here, and we've been running this morning. Unfortunately for gold, we wouldn't have caught this because it was all pre-market, right? We may have caught some of this, but it was pre-market. Unfortunately, a lot of that happened before the bell opened, but we had it right, right? We had it right. We wanted to break out of our trend. This is one confirmation. Getting out of our consolidation. There's two confirmations, and then we broke out of there. I think as long as we had this volatility, we're going to see that for gold. We talked about silver. See what's happening here. What do we say? We got our bounce here on silver, right? We got our bounce. We pushed up. Now we got to see what happens here at the top of this channel. If we reject this channel, silver's going to come back down to fill this gap and bounce here again. If we break out of this, silver's off to the races, right? I think we crack 100 this year. But again, we waited for our bounce. See this? We wait for our bounces and our touches. Let's go look at copper, CPER. Okay. All right. Little double bottom forming. Now, we don't get into this play, right? We don't get into this play. You see this break? It was a retest. We lost it. Now we're coming back. We don't get into this play until we get a candle above this With the wick touching this line and then a body forming, that's when we get into that play, or else you're going to get faked out like this little doji right here that fakes you out, right? We don't get into this play until we get a wick that touches this line that shows us this is where buyers are bouncing, and then a body forming. You see this? Wick touched it, bounce, body formed. That's what we want to happen here. Until that happens, we're not touching the copper play. Let's go look at water. We talked about that for water. For water. Wasn't it core water? What was that thing called? I thought it was core water. C-O, core water. Am I tripping? Not core. Core water. Core water. What the heck was that water company called? Give me a second. Go to my Discord because I'll put it in our long-term portfolio. Holds consolidated water, CWCO. Let's see what's popping here. CWC, CWCO. Ooh. All right. So trying to come down and touch this, right? I want to see what happens. Do we come down and touch our zone and then get a bounce? So a couple of things. You see this here, breaker structure. We won't get into this until this body forms. That's when you can get into that. Or you wait till this thing comes down and touch this, and then we get something like this again, right? Wick touches, pushes up. We need a wick touch, then push up. That's when we get into that play. So right now, I wouldn't touch this at all. I wouldn't touch this play. So, all right, that's what I got for now. We'll come back and check and see what happens towards the end of the day. Peace.